This show is sponsored by Table Rock Creative Group. Creative storytelling for your brand. TableRockCreative.com.
20 years ago.
I need more whiskey to get through this movie.
Hey, welcome to Blockbuster Man Scott. Can I help you?
Do you have any movies that deal with death and dismemberment?
You mean like horror movies, man?
It doesn't matter, just death and dismemberment.
Well, it does matter, man, because they're all sectioned out here at Blockbuster, so I need to know if you're looking for a horror movie or an action movie or a new release. Like, what are you into, man? Death and dismemberment? Like, what is that, man?
Movies where people die and get dismembered.
Oh. Can I see your ID, man?
I got an ID for you.
Bartender, more whiskey. He has a poster of Brad Dorff on the back of his bedroom door. Lee Bridges!
That is art, by the way.
He wishes Kim Delaney was naked more in the film. Doug Wall! He backhands his kids all the time and doesn't have Charlie's arm. Garrick Lane! This is Tales from the Video Store! That was good.
Did I like it?
Tarzan effect.
Or did I hear it?
Oh!
Yeah.
How we doing, gentlemen?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
It's good. It's good to see you guys after a year off.
Yeah, I know.
That's crazy, right?
Fucking working man over here.
I know, man. Everybody's been busy and we hadn't been able to do our weekly, so we're about a 10-day stretch, which is good, though, because we're fresh.
Yeah.
Movies, and we have no excuse to say we haven't seen any movies.
That's true. That's very true.
Doug said he had 72, so this is going to be a long show.
Yeah.
Pick two.
Pick two.
Maybe four.
Yeah, 4.
Actually, you could save some if you wanted to, or you could just.
Well, we'll just get to them real quick.
That's fine. Hey, I got nowhere to be, man.
I'm not gonna go into detail on some of them.
This
Some
is
of them I
going.
will.
Yeah.
I'm drinking your beer,
Yeah,
and
you're
I got
good.
nowhere to be, so let's go.
Okay, so number one, I watched 2017 John Woo's Manhunt.
How is that?
That is a straight up John Woo action film from 1995 that was made in 2017. It's brilliant. I mean, if you like John Woo's movies, you'll like this. It's starts off this lawyer who works for a pharmaceutical company goes into like a small little bar, has some food, and he's talking old movies with one of the women who were in there. There are 2 waitresses in there. And then this big gang shows up, and the guy's like, one of the girls is like, talking about something about this movie, and she says, well, he says, I'm going to go out to my car. I've got a copy of it. And he walks out the door. The women turn into fucking ninjas, ballet, gun ballet, John Woo style, kill the whole gang, and that's the beginning of the movie. The story is a little weird, which is fine.
Yeah.
For this kind of movie. I don't really care about the story. It actually kind of gets into some sci-fi elements later on in it, which is kind of weird. For anybody who's asking, yes, there is a pigeon scene. There are plenty of shoot 'em up, like paper everywhere. I mean, classic fucking John Woo.
That's awesome. So there was a lot of the confetti use of the paper.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's just it just shows that John Woo still has it. If you like that style of his earlier works, you'll love this movie.
Sweet. Pigeons and confetti and John
Pigeons,
Woo,
confetti,
dude. Done.
Yeah,
Tequila?
gunfights. I don't remember.
People jumping through the air with 245s.
tequila.
Oh yeah, I mean
Yeah.
these crazy jump shots.
Yeah, you're saying this is 2000, so this is a new
2017. It's on Netflix. It was a straight to Netflix movie.
that was shot in 2017, but it felt like John Woo from 1995.
Correct.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Really? There's such thing?
Yeah, I think you might like it.
This thing exists?
Yeah.
Woo!
My only
awesome.
little complaint about it, there's a little bit too much CGI for my taste in some of the scenes. In particular, there's a scene where they're racing these jet skis and they're having this like shootout and they're jumping back and forth, and it's just a little bit more than it probably needed to be.
Where was this shot? In Hong Kong? Did he go back, or is this...
I don't remember.
It's a Hong Kong movie.
I'm pretty sure.
So he went back to his roots.
Yeah, which now Hong Kong movies are
basically mainland Chinese movies.
Right.
I mean,
And that's what we had talked about and didn't
right,
kinda know
because
what to
there have been a
expect.
lot of, after I say about 2010, I've noticed a lot of decrease in quality of Hong Kong action movies. Like Doug said, a lot of CGI, a lot of, like, you go back and I watched a Hong Kong movie from the 80s this week, and just the craziness, it doesn't even compare. Like, a lot of safety, because...
This was over-the-top action, but you could just put mute on. You don't have to hear any of the conversations. Some of them are just downright terrible.
Is it in English?
Some.
Okay.
And the rest of it's subtitled.
Manhunt.
Woo!
John Woo doing John
coming
Woo.
back, man. Hadn't seen him in a long time. And
Where's he been, Lee?
He made that movie Redcliffe about 10 years ago, which took place in... There's been a lot of that, too, in the last 10 years. They called it Battlefield Fu. It was like, basically anything that took place before the Communist Revolution was good. But anything since then, you couldn't really touch on because they didn't want to do movies that dealt with drugs because it made them look bad, So it was a lot of period pieces and stuff, and it just got very old to me, and which I like period martial arts movies, but also I like guys flying through the air with machine guns and stuff exploding.
Yeah,
you will absolutely love this.
And Shotgun Fat
and
with
every
with a toothpick in his
oh
mouth.
yeah, no doubt. That poster's on my wall.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah. But,
I was waiting to see him. I was like, man, come on, just have like a cameo.
Right.
It didn't happen.
He actually made a movie called The Gutenberg Project, which is I haven't seen it, but it has to do with counterfeiters. It looks very similar to Better Tomorrow, and he looks like he's aging backwards. Like, he looks amazing. Cool. And I'm sure that's the fact that he doesn't have kids, but anyway. But yeah, so maybe that's become like an upturn in sort of Hong Kong action movies. They're sort of getting back to where it used to be. We can hope.
Yeah, I mean, it's one if you got Netflix and you like you like old John Woo, definitely give it a look. I think you'll be impressed with it.
I might have to do that tonight.
So, on our Death and Dismemberment trip, after
it's coming to a close.
after last week and after we had watched Live, I wanted to watch something that we had been talking about, some Sam Raimi, so I watched Evil Dead 2.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to see just how similar they really were because I had just seen that one, and then later that night I watched the other one. And they are very, very extremely similar.
Oh yeah, their way of filmmaking is a lot. The same.
Oh yeah.
It made me think like how interesting it would have been had Dead Alive been made by Raimi and had Evil Dead been made by Peter Jackson. What would be the similarities and what would be the differences?
The differences.
Yeah.
Oh, that's smart.
But, I've always been a big Raimi fan. I mean, I'm sure everybody that listens to this has seen this movie. I'm not going to go into the story.
Right.
Everybody.
But
everybody, if you're listening to this podcast,
it's
you've
still
seen
awesome.
Evil Dead
It's
2.
still awesome. And another movie that I cross-referenced with this one was Drag Me to Hell. Came out in 2009. Yeah. I really liked it.
Yeah, I did too.
Oh yeah.
And it's very similar. Same kind of style.
The ending was awesome.
Yeah, it was really good. So I watched those movies. Give you a little food for thought about the directors. Let's see, what else should I watch?
Dead by Dawn. Dead by Dawn.
I watched 2019 movie on Netflix. Dan Gilroy's Velvet Buzzsaw. He's the writer director of Nightcrawler with Jake Gyllenhaal and
which
Jake
was
Gyllenhaal.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I went.
I think we watched that. I think you and I
went twice. Jake Gyllenhaal, Rene Russo, Tony Collette, John Malkovich is in this. It's a really odd story, man. It's about this art gallery and this woman that works for him, and she's about to get fired, and she comes home to her apartment complex one night and finds that her neighbor is dead. And she gets inside of his apartment and finds tons of this crazy-looking art everywhere. So, the previous owner had left clearly that he wanted all of this to be destroyed upon his death. But she steals it all, and then all these greedy assholes, artsy-fartsy, so to speak, all start trying to get their mitts on it, start trying to make money off of it. And not only does his art kill, but it also makes other art. Like it
infects it.
It infects it, yeah. So it's got some funky scenes to it. It's not really all that well put together. The story is kind of strained in some parts. there's not really a whole lot of flow to it, and I kind of started to lose interest in it about an hour into it.
That's
but I was
funny.
like,
I started
Yeah.
that. It was a busy day, though. I started it, and then I think at one point when time was like, ooh, this is one of those movies I think I'm going to have to actually sit down and watch.
yeah, it just wasn't,
Maybe that's what
at
it
the end of the
was.
day, it just simply wasn't entertaining.
It just looked like fancy Phantasm to me.
Yeah.
Like it's just like that's just Phantasm with art. It doesn't,
pretty much.
you know. I mean,
Phantasm is just a bunch of weird scenes, you know,
Yeah.
because it's so nightmare-like, you know. But
this just like it's just fancy Phantasm.
Yeah, it just, for all the actors that were in it and Gilroy, who I do
talented.
respect, yeah, it just, sometimes they work out, sometimes they don't. This one, personally, for me, just did not.
Right.
So that's what I watched. And I also rewatched Mandy again just
Right.
because, and it's still awesome.
Better the second time? Is that what you said? All there?
Much better the second
Because you can pay attention more.
Oh, dude, I was
I
dialed
watched
in. I was just like, I was sitting in
agree,
there just
yeah.
like, oh, dude.
Well, the first time that I watched it, I was coming back from Los Angeles, and
Right.
it was on a phone with my Beats on. And even though you have this, these great headphones on, it's still this small screen. And then when we watched it, it was much better.
Right, yeah.
It's great. It's great. I was telling somebody last night at work, it's like, you must watch. Must watch. They were talking about how good the Spider won Best Picture.
Tales
Spider-Verse.
with Tales with the
Said
Spider-Verse.
Nick Cage's part in that film
Yeah.
was great, and I
Yeah.
was like, if you think that part is good, you must see Nick
Yeah.
Cage and Mandy. And
Oh,
he's
yeah.
like, oh, I heard about that movie. I'm like, you must see it.
Yeah.
What you got? You got some good stuff?
I did. I watched a few things since the time we've been gone. Going to the Hong Kong film, I actually bought a box set of films. I've never seen them, but I heard about it, called the Iron Angel films. They're basically, in the late 80s, they started making this series of films. Basically, it's like Hong Kong Charlie's Angels. And it's a pretty good movie. The stunt work looks like there's no way somebody didn't get seriously hurt. Like, just, like, you can look up the trailer. There's stuff like, oh, damn, like just people on motorcycles, like, throwing each other off and stuff, and like a warehouse full of like car parts on giant racks with people, like the racks collapsing on people and stuff. Just no disregard for people's safety, as the Lord intended.
Yeah.
And but really cool movie, and directed by she was an actress, Teresa Wu. Only movie she ever directed was the first one, and pretty cool movie. Like 2 and 3 are on Amazon Prime. 1 has never been released in America for some reason. Why, I have no idea. That's why I bought the box set. Got it real cheap on eBay. After that, I rewatched Dredd from 2012, the Judge Dredd movie with Carl Urban, which I will say is one of the best action movies of the 21st century. It is.
Crazy.
Yeah, shut the fuck up.
It's so good.
Really?
Yeah, have you not seen it?
No.
Well, then shut the fuck up then.
Fair enough.
Okay. But it's
I
just
just
like.
don't see a Dread movie being good.
Did anybody ask you?
Okay, all right. Continue then.
All
That's
right.
just, all right, just put my two
And it's
cents
just
in.
like you can tell Carl Urban's a cool guy, because a lot of actors, they'd be like, you cannot see your face the entire movie. Like, you can see your chin. Like, you never see his face the entire time. And Lena Headey from Game of Thrones, she's awesome as the bad guy.
Oh, she's the bad guy?
Yeah, and the thing I love about it is it has really nothing to do with the mythology of the Judge Dredd comics. It's just his Wednesday. Like, it's just a random day. Like, there's a scene at the beginning when they introduce his new partner. And they explain, she's a psychic and all this stuff. And, because of the radiation, nuclear war, there's mutations and stuff. And they're like, and the head judge is like, just go. He's like, give her a shot. Throw her in the deep end. And Carl Urban says, it's all the deep end. It's a city from Washington, D.C. to New York City. It's this giant city that's hundreds of miles. And, I think they say there's, like, the judges can respond to 6% of all the 911 calls.
Yeah.
So basically, there's just murder everywhere. And it really does have the tone of the really violent English comic books. Certainly more so than the Stallone movie did.
I was going to ask you to compare and
Oh, it
contrast
does not
those
even
two.
compare.
I can't really remember it other than the fact that I hated it.
Right. This is like I said, you never see his face.
Yeah.
He never emotes really.
Wasn't this one of the films that came out right when the 3D craze?
Yes.
Isn't that why? Like, they almost made this
and
film.
it's one of the best 3D movies. Like, I have a 3D TV. And
Excuse me.
I would most of the 3D Blu-rays I have are garbage. You can't really. It doesn't add anything.
So
to
then
it.
I'm not paying you for my Deer Park water.
Well, I didn't think you were going to begin with. I'm still waiting on those $3 from a couple months ago. Anyway.
But it's, the 3D, it actually, there's like depth to the world.
Right.
You know, and it does little things like in the Stallone movie where he yells, "I am the law." In this movie, Carl, he just kind of says it. Like he just kind of throws the catchphrase out there. Like it's not a big deal. And it's a movie if you didn't even know anything about the comic books, people would still enjoy it. It's not like dependent on, you know. But yeah, I would say probably in the top 5 action movies of the 21st century. Like it's really good.
3D TV, how does that work? You have to put the glasses on?
Yeah, you have glasses on.
That's crazy. So you actually buy a TV and it's the 3D.
Yeah.
So when I see those Blu-rays that are the 3D, you have to have the 3D TV and the glasses?
Yeah.
What are
you not getting about this? It's not quantum physics.
That's fantastic. I didn't know. I live under a rock, man. I have my ways. That's crazy. That's awesome.
I don't like.
Why are we doing this podcast at my office? We need to be doing it
At Lee's house.
Because it's an hour and a half drive and y'all ain't coming.
Anyway, well, hour and 20 minutes. But anyway, so yeah, I love that movie. I watch it once, twice a year. Like I really do love it. And I rewatched from 1996, Lone Star, John Sayles movie.
Oh,
such a great movie.
It is.
It really is. And
a lot of people would say it's very slow.
it's true. It is, but it's deliberate. With the flashbacks and everything. I don't think it's badly paced at all. And I think that's his best movie as a director.
Oh, absolutely.
And other than that, I watched In the Loop from 2009. Same director as Death of Stalin. Basically, it's a comedy about the English and American government deciding to invade Iraq. You know how like it's like everybody's really polite, but they hate each other, and they both like the people who want to invade this country and the people who don't. Like it's just like these petty squabbles, kind of like very similar to Death of Stalin. That guy's sense of humor just kills me. You know, like James Gandolfini is this like 4-star general who works at the Pentagon who's desperately trying to stop the invasion. Like he knows that just massive amounts of people are going to die, and it's not going to be worth it. And it's just oddly funny, you know. And the amount
What's
of
the name of it?
In the Loop.
In the Loop.
Yeah, the amount of profanity in it is just amazing, you know. But like I said, it's very polite.
I still have Death of Stalin, and
Yeah.
I have it sitting here.
Yeah, but that's the way they talk. They're just like, well, this guy over here looks like the fucking baby from Eraserhead. You know, what's he going to do? And like that guy will turn out to be like the secretary or something. You know, it's just like that sort of really clever name calling that guy does, like in all, and the HBO show VP created, you know. But yeah, that's all I watched was those movies.
Great. Well, I didn't watch a bunch of movies. I've been pretty crazy busy, but I watched. The best that I watched was actually Shot Caller.
Shot Caller. Okay.
Yes, with Nikolai Coster-Waldau from Game of Thrones. The film, it's funny because I wasn't sure going into. I watched it based solely on the trailer, and I had never heard of it, never went to the theater, so I'm like, well, whatever. But it was actually fantastic. It had John Bernthal, the Punisher, and it had Benjamin Braden as a cop. It was fantastic.
Yeah, the same guy directed that movie Felon with Stephen Dorff came out years ago. Yeah.
Yes, and it's great, man, because the story. I don't want to give a lot of it away because it's one of those movies you definitely need to see. But he's a normal guy. His character's a normal guy, and goes out with his wife and their best friends. They get drunk at a party, and on the way home, he skips a stop sign, and it kills his best friend in the back. Well, so anyway, they go back and forth, and of course, a little bit of the plot hole is that guy would probably never do time. He would probably get even at a homicide. I don't know how it works.
Depends on the judge, I guess.
Yeah, maybe. So
I mean, he'd been drinking and...
So, sure, maybe. I don't know how that works, and who cares? At this point in time, nobody cares. The point is that, so basically his lawyer talks him into just do the 3 years. Just do a plea bargain. Do the 3 years. Don't fight it. And then I'll get you out. And then, whatever. Well, while he goes in, There's some sort of clause. He ends up in the regular prison, and he watches some men rape another guy, and it pretty much screws him up. And he's like, I'm not going to be that guy. So he befriends some skinheads and starts taking some drugs in through his anus. And make a long story short, he starts making a little. So then his wife comes in and says they're going to sue us for wrongful death. So he starts making some money with the skinheads, and he gets in really deep. So this is a guy who wasn't really a criminal, and then it's progression. He starts getting tattoos, and he starts really getting in deep with these skinheads and doing criminal things. And then I won't go any further than that, because then that kind of brings the twist. But it really is a great movie, and it's a great study of how normal people can make a mistake and go into prison and end up
way worse than
they were before they got there. Yep. And it's a great movie. I suggest both of you watch it. It's really good.
I've seen parts of it. I haven't seen the whole thing.
And then I did watch Uncle Drew.
Again?
No, well, yeah, but I didn't. Did I? I don't think
We've been down this road.
Oh, did we? Oh, well, I don't. I said I had it.
We talked about it. Yeah, we didn't talk about watching. You talked about it.
It was great.
Okay.
Like it is what it is. But Chris Webber still is the show as this old preacher. Like it was fun. Shaquille O'Neal. I mean, it was fun. It's fun if you like basketball movies. And I took the kids to Golden Ticket Cinemas and we watched Alita.
How was it?
And talk about effects. There was a lot of them. It was good.
Would you watch it again?
No.
Okay.
I will not watch it again. There was Rodriguez. You could tell it was a Robert Rodriguez film because the actors weren't very good, and they didn't deliver lines very well. Even Christopher Waltz was minimal. And the script was very, very scientific because it was James Cameron, and there was lots of you have to tap into this doorway in Zorn and make it was just a lot. It was a lot. It was very campy, but it was very violent. So, and some of the effects were Robert Rodriguez, where you're just like, I don't know, man. I don't. You're right. That's. I guess that you kind of reviewed it for me. It was inconsistent. It was good. I won't watch it again.
Right.
The effects were really cool.
Yeah, it looked like James Cameron, a movie he didn't have time to make, and he had a buddy of his. Here, make a bunch of money. Make this.
Or he had a movie that was going to be too expensive for him to make, and nobody would give him the money because he hasn't made a movie in a while. So he's like, well, let's give it to the guy who knows how to make big movies like this on a green screen for nothing.
Yeah. It's a movie he's owned the rights to it for years. Like I remember reading back in Wizard magazine back in the 90s that he had the rights to it. So I mean, he's probably one of those projects. He's probably got like 10 of those, stuff he's been wanting to make. But
no, but I mean, it might have been entertaining. The kids liked it. My wife was like, "I loved it," and I'm like, "You loved that?" Like it was hard to follow. There was lots of So that's
right.
It's funny, and I don't mean to pull my wife down, but when my wife likes a movie, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to.
Right.
Her favorite movie is Made in Manhattan with Jennifer Lopez and Ralph. Ralph Fiennes.
So it was written by John Hughes. I mean, that's something.
That is something.
That's the best. That's literally the best thing I can say about it.
So there you go. There are my three films that I watched.
Nice.
Which brings us to the video store movie tonight. Dun dun dun. Body Parts.
Absolutely. This is our second of the 3 movies we've done. This is our second 2-time director.
Body Parts.
Because on our second episode we covered Cohen and Tate. Eric Red's first movie as a director. This is his second movie. And it's kind of similar to the other 2 movies we've talked about. It has a very feature-length Twilight Zone-ness about it, or Outer Limits, I guess, whatever you want to say. And, guy, Jeff Fahey, prison psychologist, gets in a car wreck, violent car, his arm is ripped off. And this doctor, this very nice English lady who's a scientist, she has this new technique where she can just graft a new body part on someone. The healing time is sped up. You don't have to worry about it rejecting the transplant. It just, basically she can give him his arm back. But it's from a donor. And the first hint that something's wrong is when they're getting ready to do the surgery. The cops wheel in the donor's body, and the guy looks like he's dead. And there's about 4 cops around him with shotguns. And Jeff Hades, who's about to go into anesthesia, is kind of like, well, that doesn't look right. And when he wakes up, the arm has some prison tattoos on it. And as he's going into physical therapy, like he's getting these muscle spasms, like the arm will swing like it's throwing a punch. And he doesn't really think too much of it till he gets out of the hospital and he's starting to get these violent urges and stuff. And basically, to come find out, he has the arm of a serial killer on him. And it's sort of, he has to basically find everybody else who got the body parts that were transplanted. The other parts. Right. And he's trying to find these guys and find out what's going on. And the doctor starts acting shadier and shadier. And it ends in a very cool way. So that's what it's about. Tell me what you thought, Doug.
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really cool concept. Kind of Frankenstein-y in a newer, kind of more twisted way, actually. It had some killer scenes in it.
Yeah.
I mean, two that come to mind immediately. Well, actually, my three favorites, I'll have to say. Not only is Jeff Fahey in this, but Brad Dourif is in this, and Zake Smokave, that we spoke about last week from Serpent and the Rainbow, plays a detective in this. Brad Dourif is an artist who also got an arm from this same...
Right, he got the other arm.
From this same killer, and he's painting these really disturbing pictures. Yeah. And it's basically this guy's murders on canvas. But the scenes that I like, Brad Dourif, there's a scene where I guess they're coming for the part,
right?
If you want to say,
yeah.
And that part where he's hanging out the window is killer.
Yeah.
There's another part where because you wonder where the head is,
yeah,
and then you find out where the head is,
yeah,
of this killer, and there is a scene where he's getting out of this car and he's trying to collect the arms and the parts that he's already retrieved to take back to this doctor to, I guess, put them back together. Is one of the best shots I've ever seen in a movie, dude. It was awesome.
It summarizes the movie,
yes,
in one shot.
Yeah,
yeah.
It was killer. I mean, it's got some lulls. It's got some, some silly moments. But all in all, man, it's a really good movie. The third favorite scene is at the end, when it goes down.
Right.
That whole scene is awesome.
I thought you were going to say the car chase.
Well, the car chase. I like the car chase too.
When the cup comes, and he's sitting right there,
and you see him, he's got the neck brace on. You're like, oh, motherfucker, this guy.
What is this thing?
Yeah.
It took me a minute to kind of realize who it was. So I was like, oh, wait a minute, I know who that is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if you like cool special effects and some gore, it's not like all and out. All and out gore like Dead Alive or anything like that, but it's still, when it chooses to come out, it's perfectly executed. It's awesome. It's definitely a rent.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of like, oh shit moments in it, where you're like, oh my god.
Yeah.
And I love that.
You get your money's. It's 88 minutes and you get your money's worth.
Yeah, I mean, there's enough action, enough story, and enough gore to entertain the likes of me.
Right.
Yeah, so that's a rent for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it too. The car wreck in general.
Yeah, where he goes to the windshield.
Yeah,
The first one? At the very beginning?
At the very beginning was very well done.
Outside of the wheel flying off, which was just ridiculous, but I let that slide.
No, that happened to me. That has happened to me. Luckily, I was only going about 25 miles an hour. I had a flat tire the week before, and I had to take my tire off and put it. And I guess the guy who he didn't tighten the lug nuts up enough, and I guess they rattled off one at a time. And I was going. Luckily, I was going through a very suburban part of town. We had a very low, and I was going, and my fucking car turned into a tripod, and I looked up, and the tire is bouncing down the road behind me, and my brother just looked at me and was like, "What the fuck just happened?" And that shit is like, had I been going 60 miles an hour, we'd have fucking died. There's no doubt about it.
Wow.
And
there you
so
go.
it can't.
There it is.
I mean,
now on the other hand,
right.
On the other hand, stitching a death row dude's arm isn't going to make you beat your kids or start choking people.
Right.
Like, that was my only issue with
But that's the conceit of the movie, though.
Well, but the reason that it did is because the head was still alive.
So the brain was still... Okay,
Yeah.
so...
You understand? The brain still had control over the flesh.
Well, it's like Jeff Fahey, he says, where does evil live? Does it live in the soul or in
the
blood?
skin?
Or in the skin,
or
yeah,
where?
exactly. That's kind of the point of the movie.
That's why DeReef's character was still drawing the...
Because he references,
murders.
he's like, I painted those shitty paintings you see in hotels of like farm landscapes.
Yeah.
He's like, I sucked. He's like,
now people are paying.
He's like, I get paid hundreds of thousands, like paint these like screaming faces, you know. And there was, like you said, they were the memories of the murders that were still in that hand.
Right.
I guess it's like sense memory, I guess, or like sense memory and muscle memory. I
They
guess.
say if you cut your hand off, if I cut my hand off, it would always be there.
Yeah.
I
You'll
would always
feel like it's
that.
there.
It'd feel like it's there even though it wasn't there.
The phantom itch, they call it, the phantom twitch, like people, They say eventually it does, like after a few years, it does go away. But that's got to suck. Like, I always wondered, like, people who are blind or paralyzed, when they dream, they can see. Right? Mm-hmm. And then when you wake up, you have to have that moment of realization where, oh shit, I can't see. And that, to me, that's got to be the worst thing in the world.
Well, but how does someone dream who was blind from birth?
No, I'm talking about people who went blind, like you were in an industrial accident.
Yeah.
Did they just not?
Like if I woke
they
up tomorrow
have to dream.
Yeah, they have to dream, like, but I'm sure in their dreams, like you're walking into your pre-accident, and then when you wake up, you're like, oh fuck, I can't see. To me, that's like, I would fucking blow my brains out.
Oh yeah, that would.
or just like somebody like us, we're 40 years old.
Yeah, exactly.
We've seen Doug, however, he's blind as a bat anyway, but he's always been blind.
Yeah.
That's right.
Getting
But
worse.
Getting worse. Yeah, I know, but to wake up, you know, and not be able to see. Like,
Oh fuck. Oof. Anyway.
It was good. I'd rent it. I have my problems with it, but I still I think it was great. I think it's very easy, short. It's one of those stories that definitely has holes, but you don't care.
Yeah,
because you're
it's
all
so
for the
fun.
ride. Yeah, it's
And also, this is the first movie where Jeff Fahey looked like a human. Because if you go back to movies from the 80s, like I watched Silverado. I saw it was on TV like yesterday. And I was like, he looked like a fucking android.
he was actually an android in Alita.
Was he?
Yeah.
In the 80s, he looked like friggin' dollar store, like a discount brand Terminator. I was like, that dude don't look real.
I think he lives in Austin because he's in all of Robert
good for him.
Rodriguez's films. He's always shows up in all of them.
But I really dig this movie. Talking about like the car chase, the scene where he gets the body, where Jeff Fahey shows up, and I love how the doctor. She's so sweet at the beginning.
Oh yeah,
it's like a slow reveal of her being a mad scientist. Like you don't, about halfway through you start to realize, there's something wrong with this chick.
And he's like praising her. He's like, oh, I'm not the.
She's going to win the Nobel Prize.
She's going to win the Nobel Prize. She's great. She's wonderful.
And also,
he's like, take this arm off of me.
Yeah.
It's fucking killing me.
Yeah. And I thought what was really clever was, he's a prison psychiatrist, and the guy who he's interviewing the day before the accident has this stalker tattoo. It's something that if you're in death row inmates have.
If you kill somebody, you get the.
If you kill somebody in prison, you get.
And when he has that session with him.
And he flips over the new arm, and it's got the stalker tattoo, and it just freaks that guy out.
No.
Yeah. And, there's a lot of just really clever moments in it. And Eric Red's just, we've talked about him quite a bit on the show, but, wrote the hit. I forgot. I rewatched The Hitcher the other day because it was the 30th anniversary last week, and that is such a well-written movie. Like he just has this like this. Cohen Tate just has this sort of I don't know how to explain. Like he just has this sparseness to his movies.
Right.
Like there's no fat in any of his movies hardly.
No.
And this is probably the movie that has the most. It doesn't take place in a car. It doesn't there are real people in it. A lot of his movies are just psychos and stuff. This has the most normal humans in it. Probably the most dialogue.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's just the guy who plays the killer looks out of his mind, and it's a really if you've never seen it, check it out.
Kim Delaney pre-alcoholism.
Right.
She looks fantastic.
She looks great. Yeah. And just like Doug said, kind of a mystery Frankenstein type movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's almost done backwards.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's what I like.
If you got an arm and it was from Frankenstein, basically. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
So, Body Parts. It was released a couple years ago by Warner Brothers Archive. It is no longer available, but you can rent it online.
Or if you want to pay Lee a handsome sum, he might send you his used copy.
I will not.
And show up and watch it with you.
Yeah, he may even show up and watch it with you if you donate to the show.
That's true.
All right. There you go, Body Parts. So what, 3 rents?
3 rents.
All right,
For
3
sure.
rents.
Yeah.
For sure, rent it.
Yep.
Rent it. Very nice. Well, since, back Body Parts came up, there was, back then you had to go to the movies and watch this physically. Or you'd have to rent the VHS. Nowadays, you don't have to go to the movies anymore. You can just stream it, which has caused lots of craziness in the news these days. As you know, the Cannes Film Festival, which is probably
That's the biggest film festival.
probably the biggest or the most well-known besides Sundance.
Right.
They rejected Roma. The Oscars just happened, and he won. He's the first director to win DP, which is great. He won foreign language film, that movie, and he won director.
Okay. Yeah.
So he won three Oscars. Anyway, where I'm going with this is Netflix refused to show or pick up Roma because Cannes refused to pick up Roma because Netflix had bought the rights, and it was a streaming film.
Right.
Well, so my question, I guess, and this is a big thing right now, is Cannes is under a lot of pressure. They're going to have to make a decision because, you've got Soderbergh's next film and Scorsese's next film both coming out on Netflix platform. Is Cannes going to say...
Cave.
Yeah, you do that. You don't think they'll cave? You think they'll stick to that?
Yes.
And why is that?
Why would they cave? What does that film festival gain by caving?
Well, because what we're saying is films now are going towards streaming too.
So that's the future.
What?
Well, it's like
So
film
you're-
and video. You're gonna have the old codgers that are gonna be like, no, I'm shooting on film forever. But the reality is, eventually it'll go away.
I think Christopher Nolan's the only film. Him and Spielberg are the only two.
There's a few of them. Yeah, they're the two main ones.
They
Yeah.
can still shoot on film, but we're talking about the medium though. We're not talking about the art. We're talking about.
Why do they have to accept
Roma,
it?
they made a 2-hour movie.
Right.
They shot it on film and they delivered it. Netflix picked it up, but because Netflix is now a streaming and it's not Paramount,
Hold on.
it's not a
Here's
film.
my question. I thought that Netflix produced that movie from the ground up is the issue.
No, they
It wasn't just that it was made.
No,
and
they
then
make
picked
these
up.
movies with private money and then they sell them.
See, I know they picked up The Night Comes For Us. I know they do pick up a lot, but they are starting to produce. Like they're producing The Irishman.
Yeah,
They're paying for Irishman out of
there
pocket.
are some, but
Are you
Rome.
sure that Roma's not one? Because I thought that it was. That's why I thought it was.
That's a
an
good
issue.
question.
No, the issue I think is the distribution. Like Jonas, the guy who did the score for Mandy.
Yes.
Jonas
Yeah.
Johansson. He was not allowed to be nominated for an Oscar because they said the theatrical release and the digital release were too close together, and that breaks their rules. And a lot of people were like, "That's bullshit," So I guess the question is, do they change the Oscars, the Cannes Film Festival? Do they change their rules, or do they grow with the times? Because they can't just say no. And I will agree, as long as the movies have a theatrical release, I think they should be eligible.
As long as they show up in the theater.
As long as they show up in
some
a theater,
point
a theater, they should be eligible because that's what it is. It's their
Now,
if
Roma did not though, did it?
No,
I have no idea.
That's what I'm saying.
I have no idea.
It didn't show up in one theater. It went straight. It's a Netflix
Well,
baby.
I know, but you've got Spielberg stuff.
That's why Spielberg is like, no.
Yeah, he's saying they should be nominated for Emmys because they're TV movies.
Yes.
And other people say no, they're Oscars. I think as long as I know the
That's
Irishman
a
is going
crazy
to be
argument. I feel that with Steve. I mean, I get
Irishman.
that.
The Irishman is going to be both theatrical and Netflix. It's going to be theatrical and then Netflix because they're not paying $150 million for.
Absolutely.
An
Why
Emmy.
why would Netflix not put a
So-
Scorsese film with
As long-
Leonardo
I say as long as
DiCaprio
and
in
this
the
whole
theater?
like the Mandy thing, I say some of those rules not a bomb need to be changed. Like I think as long as it's in the theater, and you think it's good enough, then it's not the 40s.
So Netflix, but The Irishman will come. It will be
in
instead
the
of Paramount, it'll be Netflix opening.
Yes, in theaters, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like instead of the Paramount Mountain, you'll
Yep,
see
a Netflix picture.
A Netflix picture.
Yep.
But it will show up at the theater, so it will make. So that may be the argument Cons has.
Right.
Since it's that, we'll pick. Since it actually shows up on the big screen, we will pick it up and put it into our film festival.
We'll see. They might boot that one too, because they might just be like, nope, it's got to be a movie. It can't be.
And I know Spielberg is spearheading this anti-streaming.
Oh yeah,
and trying to keep it separate from
but that,
production company movies that aren't streaming. And is it fair? I mean, I don't know. I saw like Bruce Campbell tweeted out. He's like, "Come on, man! Like, what are you talking about? Like, share the wealth. Like, what's the problem? It's an awesome movie. Like, where does it matter how it's made or how it's produced or where it comes from?
It's like you go back to
it's the art that matters, not how it's made.
It's like if you go back 30 years ago, 35 years of the mid 80s, people thought audio cassettes were going to ruin the record industry. Because they thought people taping things off the radio was going to... Like, no, that's stupid.
Yeah.
It's like, it's...
Looking back, it's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous, yeah. Like, they had Senate hearings about it. Yeah. It's... so I don't know. Who knows, really? Here's the thing, but, you never... These predictions, like, movie theaters are going away. That's... who would have thought... We're all three sitting here doing a radio show. Who would have thought 10 years ago that people talking just completely, there's no video, we're just doing this with audio.
Thank God for that.
Would have been one of the biggest forms of entertainment and education in America. That podcasts are just huge.
Right.
So you can never really tell where things are going. Will eventually most movies be released streaming? Probably, but they'll still be movie theaters and stuff.
Oh, for sure.
These people have these like doomsday sayers, like in 10 years, they'll all just be parking lots. Like that's not true.
It's like that with anything new.
Yeah, exactly.
That's okay. But that's an odd argument.
Yeah.
It is, and I understand Spielberg.
Oh, I do too, but I mean...
I understand it too, but at the end of the day, man, just let go.
And also, he's a 70-year-old man, so I mean...
He's mad.
He's mad.
You respect that, Sam.
Oh, I respect that. He directed my favorite movie.
Yeah.
My all-time favorite movie.
We wouldn't be
Jaws.
here talking about
I love
these
the guy.
had he not made some movies.
But
Raiders.
that doesn't mean... Just because he directed Raiders doesn't mean he can't be out of touch.
Oh, I agree. Well, I mean, Hitchcock did the same thing.
Oh,
Hitchcock,
Yeah. When
He was like,
TV came out in the early 50s,
Lord have
it was
mercy.
like, That's why 3D and color and all those things, widescreen came about, because they were trying to combat TV. They thought TV's going to destroy the movie industry. No.
and they're still trying.
Yeah.
And it's still, guess what? Oh,
Yeah.
we're back. Full circle.
Right.
A full circle.
Yeah.
And then there'll be a new...
Yeah, there's always
a new
There'll be the
venue.
3D
There'll be a new
TVs.
something
Yeah.
for Spielberg or
VR,
somebody
whatever.
else to bitch about. I mean, it's never going to stop.
But I'm not going to stop watching movies.
No, of course not.
People are like, movies are going away. No, they're not.
God, I hope not.
Yeah, exactly.
I hope not.
They were just going to be sitting around here.
I'm still trying to make mine.
Yeah.
They can't go anywhere until I get a couple made, by God. Halfway to the grave.
Yeah.
Another in the news. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood premiered at the Playboy Mansion.
Nice.
That means, you know what that means.
Did they lose my invitation in the
Yes.
mail, apparently?
Yeah, I know.
Fucking
I didn't get
bastards.
mine either.
Yeah.
However, that means it's cut.
Oh, yeah.
That means it's done.
Yeah. Can't wait.
Oh, goodness. We might have to do a special show on that.
That works for me.
Might have to go to Charlotte because they won't get it here. You think they'll get it here?
Hell yes, they'll get it here.
Oh, yeah, they will. We won't get it at the Golden Ticket.
This is... It's
get
not
it easy.
Tarantino 1991, dude. It's Tarantino 2019. Like, it will be out in the massive.
We will be there.
Oh, yeah.
We will be there. And anybody has Shudder? Critters.
Yep. New Critters web series.
Yep. Critters web series coming to Shudder.
Yep. The new binge.
Yes, it is the new binge, and I can't wait.
Yeah. Looks in it. A lot of practical effects, steel puppets and stuff. It's not, it looks similar to the movies. It looks like in the vein of the same movies.
Good.
Yeah.
I got to see some movies. Oscar. Hey, kudos to Spike Lee.
Yep.
Finally won it.
Yep.
Even though the Green Book winning caused a lot of issues, which of course it's going to cause a lot of issues.
I have a
Because it
question.
really is the stupid, like it is the...
Yeah. Now I have a question. I was thinking about this today. Okay, best director, that's for the best movie award. That's the best directed movie. The best film, the producers get that award for best picture.
Yes.
So it's the best produced film.
Yes.
I was sitting there thinking of all the movies. Like, I think Spike Lee should win Best Director for Black Klansman. I think that's the best directed movie.
100%.
I saw. Okay, but best produced movie. I was thinking about it. I was like, I said, it's fucking Mission Impossible Fallout. As far as produced film, like the sets, the locations, the everything. As far as like the production of everything, I think that was.
I agree.
That was the best produced movie I saw last year.
I 100% agree.
So it's like, what do these, a movie like Green Book, which I'm sure it's probably a pretty okay movie.
He's come a long way since there's something about
That's
Mary.
true. And the reason, I didn't realize, I read this the other, the reason they're not doing comedies anymore, his nephew died, the other brother, his son died, and he retired. So I guess they didn't want to do comedies without each other. That's why I was like, it's only directed by one. That's kind of weird. So that's kind of sad. But, yeah, I mean, does anybody think that's the best movie of the year? Like, I haven't seen it, and I can tell you.
No.
I haven't seen it, but I will say this, and I like Spike Lee, but I don't like people acting the way that he did at the Oscars and like pouting and like trying to run out and cause a big scene.
Right.
I don't appreciate that. It's childish. Like, grow the fuck up, dude.
Yeah.
Like, you're not in your 20s.
Yeah.
Like, you don't like something, stomp your foot like a fucking teenage girl.
Raise your fist, Black Panthers, do all that stuff, but don't
Him
disrespect.
and I think Peele were both in there just like hell raising about this when it was announced. And I just, it's like...
So what would have been better for them if it wasn't Black Klansman?
Black Panther.
Yeah, Black Panther.
Right? I mean, I don't know.
I mean, I don't... What was... Yeah.
I have no idea, but the fact is, I'm glad that Spike won because, like you said, Black Klansman was one of the best movies I saw last year.
And he should have won Best Director.
And I loved it when he ran up and jumped into
and
Samuel Jackson's arms. I was like,
Yeah.
yes, that's killer, But, some of the other stuff.
And at the same time, it's all campaigning.
Sure.
If you won because you sent a bunch of old dudes who vote 14 karat gold iPads, then you didn't win.
Right.
Your campaign won.
Yeah.
So I really don't give a shit.
Right.
Because if like me and you made a movie and it got nominated for an Oscar, we're not going to be able to compete with the Paramount movie.
No.
So it doesn't matter.
Well,
we
spent all our money making the movie.
So yeah,
we don't have the
so
marketing
the quality
money.
is immaterial. So I really don't give a shit. Is my point.
Yeah, I agree. But kudos to Spike Lee for finally getting it. And hey, if it makes you feel any better, man, fight the power because you should have got the director 100%.
Right.
I doubt he'll make a better movie. Now, I don't doubt.
He could.
I don't doubt.
He may.
I don't doubt his brilliance, but
But for every Black Klansman, there's a Chirac.
That's right.
So let's temper our expectations.
Hey, 25th Hour didn't get any praise, and it's still my favorite.
Right.
So he may make a better film for me, personally. I'm talking about mainstream.
Yeah. Acceptance.
Mainstream acceptance awards, critical appraise.
Yeah.
He may not make another one.
Right.
So kudos. I'm glad he got one.
Oh,
Yeah, hell yeah. For sure.
Even though he stormed out and acted like a fool during the...
Yeah, but we all have those moments.
Do we?
I freaked out. There wasn't 50 cameras pointed at me. I'm not gonna hate on him.
I've never freaked out, but the fact is he's been
You've never lost your temper.
No,
you never
no.
freaked out.
not in a scenario like that where, it's...
I'm not talking about any scenario.
Oh, well, fuck yeah.
I just wasn't on camera. I wasn't threatening to beat my brother to death with a baseball bat.
But nobody saw it.
Nobody saw it, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. But anyway, that's what I'm saying. We all have our moments,
Yep, we definitely have.
That's
our
why
moments.
I'm glad YouTube wasn't around when I was a teenager.
I will say, I did want to bring up something that I did watch a little bit of last night that has something to do with our Death and Dismemberment before we are done with it. There is a 4-part, I believe it's produced by Jordan Peele. It's a 4-part about Lorena Bobbitt that is on Amazon Prime.
Yes.
And I watched it, and man, Dismemberment.
That shit looked
For
hurt.
real.
Didn't it?
A lot of it.
It looked like a beanie weenie,
Like,
but it was like, oh
it's
my
no
god,
good.
that's his
Have
baby.
you watched it?
Yeah, I watched it.
Oh man,
What do you
Tough.
believe then? Do you believe he beat her, or do you believe she made all that up and it just because of all that was going on with OJ?
Oh no.
He was a cunt.
He definitely
he was
abusive.
Well, he was-
And I think she was a little bit too. I know there was mention that the cops have been called actually on both of them
Yeah.
a couple of different times.
Just a toxic couple.
Yeah,
Well, the
toxic.
fact is, though, if that happened today, she would not have spent one moment in a jail or a psychiatric ward or anything. She would be glorified. She'd be on
dude.
T-shirts.
Yeah, she'd be the next president.
100%. It's just different times, and watching that, from that time when I was 18 to now, and thinking about like, man, golly. But there just wasn't the same amount of coverage. There was no internet. You couldn't dig up all this on Bobbit. It was just whatever was produced by your lawyers. That was the information that you had, or by the police.
Think about what's happened to Robert Kraft over a blowjob. I mean, it's crazy, dude. Like, but back then, that might not even. What I'm saying is that might not even gotten out.
Probably not.
It might not even gotten out. But now
maybe
it's
not.
like, last an hour ago, 1,600 tweets about, Robert Kraft being in human trafficking when he really just walked in and paid some.
Well, yeah, but here's the thing: you get caught, you deal with it.
Oh yeah.
You do the crime.
Yeah, exactly.
You do the time.
I do not doubt that. People say, why did he do it? I'll say, well, I'll tell you why he did it.
Well, here's the deal. He's got a fucking $1 billion. He's a billionaire.
Widow.
Just get in one of your fancy cars and drive around Miami, and I guarantee you can pick up some girl that can give you a rub and tug, and then just take her, drop her off, and head on back to the house.
You can't do that because they know who he is.
Who does?
The people that he picks up. That's why he'd go to this place where these women, 55 years old, they don't know who Robert Kraft is. They just give him
55-year-old?
Yeah.
Who's going to go in there for that? No, man.
I would if I didn't. Okay, we're getting off something. I'm saying coverage.
Cut from Kraft.
Yeah, cut from Kraft. But yes, I thought it was very well done. Like when he went to the Bunny Ranch and they were like, he's an a-hole and all that stuff. Like,
Yeah.
And it's crazy how they did it because as it progressed, you at first you really didn't know what happened. You felt like he was a victim. That first interview when he sits down with his big water thing, you almost feel like he's.
But by the end, you're like, you're a fucking scumbag.
An asshole. And when
you did.
She read that note.
Yeah.
That note from him, I was like, what a dick.
Well, I think they're both culpable in this. I mean, you can't cut something off of someone and get away with it. I don't care what that person does.
Don't care
to
what
you,
he did.
really.
Yeah, you can't cut a guy.
He wasn't like physically attacking her at that moment, so it's not self-defense.
Amazingly, they put it back. That was the best part of the story was how they had to go find it.
Yeah, and then he goes back later, and he's like shaking the hands of the fireman that found it. He's like, "Man, I owe you guys everything."
That's amazing, though. Before they even dealt with the whole domestic disturbance, they were like, "We must find this man's penis and get it back so they can."
But they couldn't say it over the radio waves because the news outlets are listening to it, so they'd have to code word everything. They're like, there's a thing that we're looking for. It's over in a yard by a 7-Eleven. Roger that. 10-4, I found the thing.
Operation Beanie Weenie is a success.
Yeah, it was rough. It was a rough story, but
That sounds like the world's shittiest $6 million man.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. It was good though. It was well done. I mean, There's a lot of.
I just saw it was on last night. I was sitting around. I was like, you know what, Death and Dismemberment. Let's finish it the right way.
You didn't realize though how badly Howard Stern exploited that dude.
Well, and how little amount of money that he actually got from that telethon and I think he shot like a porn and did some other things. Everybody used him, and
he was just such a dumbass that.
I mean, got his pecker cut off. What are you gonna do?
Speaking of peckers cutting off, we got pick-a-flick videos. You got us.
I guess.
You got us a little. Video to watch?
I do. It's available to watch
On Amazon Prime. And I actually referenced it last week. It's a movie I've just watched. And
is it real long?
No. No, it's only like 85 minutes.
What's the tip of the story?
Oh, jeez.
All right.
You guys could write jokes for silent film.
Do you feel shafted?
All right.
Sorry, Lee. We'll stroke your ego a little bit.
That's okay. That's all right. Okay, that was good.
I threw up. Okay, great.
What are we talking about?
I don't know.
Pick a flick.
Okay.
Pick a prick.
Yeah. It's Brain Dead from 1990, which is the movie that, the film we watched last week, Dead Alive, was released as Brain Dead in New Zealand.
So I saw it was on Amazon Prime. I've never seen it before. And what it's about is Bill Pullman plays a neurosurgeon. And Bill Paxton is his best friend who works for this, one of those giant companies that's everywhere. Like they make products for everything, but you have no idea what they do.
Yeah.
He works for one of those giant companies. And Bud Cort plays this guy. He was an accountant for this company. And he had come up with this equation that he was a mathematician, and they came up with this equation that they needed for this new product. But then he lost his mind and chopped his family up with an axe. And so the company, they still don't have this information that's in his head.
You've always been the caretaker.
And so basically, Bill Pullman, who's Bill Paxton's best friend, is this neurosurgeon, and he has developed this technique where you can basically, the way Bill Paxton pitches it to the board of directors is like, it's
Plastic surgery for your mind.
if you're depressed, we can locate the section of your brain and we can slice that out. It's a brand new you. You psychopathic, slice that out, you are good to go. Right. So basically, they're going to try to locate the section of this guy's brain that has caused him to go insane and axe murder his family, and then he can give them this information they need for this new product. And so during it, Bill Paxton is in a car. It's very confusing. Bill Pullman is in a car accident and gets a brain injury. So then, when he does the brain surgery, he goes to bed and wakes up, and he's in the sanitarium. He is the guy who he just did the brain surgery on. And Bill Paxton works for the hotel. He's not his friend. His wife doesn't recognize him. Whoa. All this stuff. And he's trying to, and basically he's going through all these different, like he'll walk through a door and he's in a completely different world. And it was written by Charles Beaumont. It was written in 1963. Roger Corman's wife, Julie Corman, who's a movie producer, apparently in the late 80s they had some movie fall apart, and they had a closet full of unproduced scripts. And she had some two interns go in there and come out with a movie because we got this movie fell apart. We got funding. We don't have a movie. And they came out with a script, and he's like, oh yeah, and Charlie Beaumont, he worked for the Twilight Zone, and this movie does feel like a long episode of Twilight Zone.
Sounds like it.
And the interesting thing about Charles Beaumont is he died in 1968. They still don't know what was wrong with him. He had, as far as they can tell, he had a combination of Alzheimer's disease and something called Pickman's disease, where your frontal lobe basically just turns to mush. And he was 38 when they died, and they said when they buried him, he looked like he was 95 years old. It was almost like his body got Alzheimer's. And I wonder if he knew he was getting sick when he started writing the script. Because it is sort of about your brain betraying you. Right. He was this super intelligent guy, wrote novels and short films and TV and movies and stuff. And just, the last few years he was basically just a vegetable, And it was, like I say, it's not a great movie, first time director. And and the script, it was obviously had to be updated from 1963 to 1990.
It sounds like a killer story.
It's a very interesting movie.
Right.
And like I said, 88 minutes long. Bill Pullman, Bill Paxton, all these guys, you know who they are, so it's never confusing about who's doing what. And
Bill Pullman.
We're not doing that anymore.
Oh, we're off the cock joke scare.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry.
You have a brain disease?
I just woke up.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
But anyway, just like I say, it's on Amazon Prime. Brain Dead, very interesting movie.
Brain Dead. Cool.
Yeah.
fantastic. Okay, well, I guess that brings us to my segment. By the way, Ash's chainsaw whipped.
Oh, I knew that was going to happen.
But still, all right.
Got 3 votes, which is actually more than I thought it was.
Well, yeah. So Lionel's lawnmower didn't fare too well against Ash's chainsaw hand.
Right.
So we're gonna switch it up a little bit this week because my friend Doug here actually made a good point. Who does the bloody Dutch angle crazy films better? Peter Jackson or Sam Raimi?
Who's a better splatter director?
Now,
That's interesting.
Now listen, when this is, and I'm going to put this on the Facebook page, but I am going to exempt the Lord of the Rings movies and a couple of movies that Sam Raimi, like Oz movie, that he did not do this particular style. So
right.
You're going to have to really You're going to really have to dig on this one to know that this is pre-Lord of the Rings for Peter Jackson, and this is Sam Raimi.
It's pre-boring. I think
Pre-boring Sam Raimi and pre-boring Peter Jackson.
Yeah.
Who does the splatter better? Yeah. That's this week's Showdown. Filmmakers Showdown.
I have friends who watch the entire extended Lord of the Rings trilogy. They'll like do that over a weekend. I'd fucking hang myself if I had to do that.
Golly, yeah, dude, that's
oh my gosh,
that's 9 hours.
That's probably closer to 11.
Yeah.
Is it?
Oh,
yeah. You're talking about the extended.
No, I'm talking about the extended. They watched the extended.
Oh my gosh.
cut.
Well, it was great. Like, I love it, and I can watch it in bits and pieces. But I don't think I could ever sit down and do that again. Ooh, I don't think I could.
It's rough.
Oh wow! Got some announcements or no?
No, go ahead.
Go ahead, man.
No, I haven't even to say.
Yeah, sure you did.
I was just going to rag on Lord of the Rings. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Oh, no, please do.
Okay, yeah.
Take the floor.
The first one I liked.
It's my favorite one.
Yeah, the second one, but halfway through the second one, I was like, it was
I like
okay.
the second one better.
The end of the third one, I was just like, please be over. I don't want this anymore.
I agree.
Why can't you be over? Stop walking. Just go away.
Just stop walking.
Just, stop being on the screen so I can go home.
Yeah.
Oh, about halfway through, at the end of the third one, I was like, I don't think I get out of this what other people get out of it.
Well, they gave him the best director, probably just because that should. And no, it got the best movie, right? Mm-hmm. Now that is a good example of produced. Every one of those guys should have gotten that, whether that movie was bad or not. The fact that they did that much with such a, hey, we're going to shoot all this at once. They actually planned all
I would agree with that.
I couldn't imagine logistics on that.
Yeah, as far as
movie.
production, I would absolutely agree.
God.
Some of the battle scenes are
epic. It's just boring.
Yeah.
It's just,
If you don't care, then it's torturous.
If you're not a Tolkien junkie,
Oh, that was like The Hobbit for me.
Oh, yeah. Oh, dude.
I absolutely cannot watch
One of my worst screening film experiences ever was watching. I only saw the second Hobbit. And
I'm glad you didn't see the first one.
The girl I was dating at the time loved all that Lord of the Rings bullshit.
Yeah.
And I wanted to go see Wolf of Wall Street so bad. So bad. And it was like $7,000 after I bought popcorn because it was in 3D. Yeah. And I walk out and a buddy of mine just sends me a text. Just walked out of Wolf of Wall Street. That movie's awesome. Like 7 exclamation marks. I was like,
of course it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, that's what I was going to say.
Still love you, Peter Jackson.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Just stop walking.
No more fucking Hobbit anything.
Yeah.
What is it? Middle Earth?
Yeah.
Just get it out of your...
Exactly.
Get it out of your...
I would rather watch Dead Alive 2.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, it's a good show.
Yeah.
Well, we're getting into our next block is the 90s gangster films. But we're going to stop off on the corner and do a one-off. We are going to do dun dun dun
The man who shot Hitler and also the Bigfoot.
with my man Sam Elliott.
Yep, doing a new release.
We are going to watch. So next week we're going to watch a one-off, kind of like we did with Mandy, the man who killed Hitler, and then the Bigfoot, and then we'll move into 90s gangster films. And you're not going to believe this. I don't even believe it myself, but apparently we have a woman guest with us coming up.
Yeah.
What's her name?
Svetsy.
Svetsy. That's her name? That's her real name?
Yeah.
Or is that the name we are calling her on the show?
That's her name.
Svetsy.
Like short for Svetlana.
Okay.
Svetsy.
Svetsy. All right, I'm going to have to learn how to say that.
SV, not Schwitz.
Okay, let me try this again. Svetsy.
Yeah.
Okay, well, so she likes movies. She's been wanting to come on the show, and
Yep.
she's young. She got thick skin.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there you go. So,
I hope so.
yeah, we'll find out. If not, she'll run out of here.
If she's not here next time that she heard this show.
Yeah, absolutely. Our Patreon page is going up. We're actually in the process now of finalizing and fixing it. And
Come out with some
having it
incentives
ready.
and things like that.
Yeah, incentives. We're working on that. And we're going to come out with some videos finally. It's been kind of busy. And I spent all my extra time changing our name from that other podcast By the way, you guys are crazy. Dick Tracy was a masterpiece. You guys are, well, I won't say it was a masterpiece, but it was pretty good. Nothing. I listened to their podcast the other day, and they ragged on Warren Beatty's Dick Tracy. And I, personally, in 1990, really liked that film.
Well, what about now?
I haven't seen it in a while, but I thought it was excellent. Dude, it had Dustin Hoffman. And
look, go back and give it another day.
Gary, there's a thing called an informed opinion.
Okay.
That's all I'm going to say.
And time. And time.
It's like, if you have all the information, then your opinion is
informed.
There you go.
I watched the movie in 1990. I owned the VHS.
Oh, I did
It was
too.
fantastic.
Yeah, I loved it.
Madonna was fantastic. Yeah, he does.
Yeah,
I love it.
but I was 10 years old, so I haven't seen it since then. So.
Like Paul Sorvino as Mumbles, like all that. It was great. Like the way they did it, everything
Yeah.
was fantastic, and the
Right.
primary colors and everything. It was a great.
It is awesome they only use 4 colors for the entire movie.
It's great. It's great. Yeah. So anyway, whatever. Where was I? Oh, I was making announcements. Patreon page. We started the group.
Yep.
Come and we've got the Facebook group now where you
It's
guys
called the
can,
Tales from the Video Store Members Club.
the members club, and you
Yeah.
guys can come and shoot the garbage. And
Yep.
if you guys disagree with us,
Yep, you can come, you can yell at Garrett.
oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Is John Wayne Bobbitt part of the member club?
No, but we need to get him.
All right, last cock joke.
Oh, that was good. I just never missed that. Dun, dun, dun. No, he's not a member.
Not yet, anyway.
No, we have to find it in the 7-Eleven parking lot, and then that would be cool to have John Wayne Bobbitt come on the show.
Would it?
I'm sure we could pay him
I'm sure
$10.
I'm sure if he can get his shift off at Jiffy Lube.
All right, so there's the show. Good stuff coming up. We appreciate you listening. I think it's time for a bourbon.
Or 12.
Bartender, more whiskey. Thank you to our sponsors. Golden Ticket Cinemas in Lenore. $5 movies every Tuesday, all day long. GTcinemas.com. The Spot Toys in Newton. Find them on Facebook at facebook.com/The Spot Toys.